got to do to get close to End Zone Social Venue, 584 South Raleigh Road, Fayetteville. Fuck with them. Now, after you do that, you're going to be hungry. You're going to head over to Food for the Soul. That's on 6829 Field Yard Road in Fayetteville. Food for the Soul, y'all. Good eats in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're trying to get fly like I, if you're trying to get chopped up real right, you know what I'm saying? Make sure your hairline is spiffy. Make sure your stash is spiffy. You want to slide over to Cutting Up Barbershop, 5701 Yak and Roll. Ask for Barber Edgar and tell him Dave sent you. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out. Good looking on the shirt. Yes, everything I learned was from the streets. Sesame Street, that is. Big ups to everybody, man. Peace to the planet. We are here, y'all. It's going down. So today we talk about food that's going to feed your mind. So number one, we need to get our step twos involved. This right here, y'all, if you are not familiar, is an official. Miss Caprice, I see you in the live, Miss Caprice. I see you. Shouts out to Miss Caprice for walking in the live. But official New York Nutty in the building. So tonight I'm doing an official New York Nutty for my step two. I hope y'all got y'all step twos involved. But we're not even going to waste no time. It's already 8 o'clock, so we're going to go in. First things first. And this is why it pays to pull up to the live. This is why it pays to pull up to the live. Guess what? I'm doing another giveaway. Best believe me. So if you in tune, you know around the same time of year, we did the school supply giveaway. Right? We did the school supply giveaway in New York in the middle of Harlem. It was dope. Me and my sister, shouts out to Sissy. We went out in the middle of Harlem. We gave out backpacks, crayons, colored pencils, regular pencils, all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like 400 packs, 200 packs, some crazy shit like that. But this time around, shout out to everybody that just walked in the live. Drop your comments in the live. Drop your name in the live so I can shout you out. You feel me? But right now, I'm giving away 3 7-day meal plans. I'm giving away 3 7-day meal plans. What I'm doing is I'm starting up a raffle, okay? It's going down. And this raffle is going to last from today is July 20th. This raffle is going to last until August 15th, right? So the way you're going to qualify, if you want to be in this raffle, that's why it pays to watch the live. Fuck with me. I need 3 people on the live to share this live. Let's work. From now to August 15th, you're going to have the opportunity to go to YouTube channel Forever 95. You're going to go to YouTube, and in the search bar, you're going to put in Forever 95. And then you're going to hit the subscribe button. After you hit the subscribe button, I need you to drop a comment so I can know who you are. Once you do that, you are qualified and you are signed up for the raffle. In total, the raffle will have 6 winners. We're not playing. We're not shorting nobody. 6 winners, man. We not wasting no time. The first 3 winners are going to get 3 7-day meal plans on Suave Guard. No problem. We got you. 7-day Fitbit meal plans, Kento, Atkins diet, fucking whatever you on, we can supply it and make it happen. That's the first 3 winners. Then the next 3 winners are going to get 50% off of a 7-day meal plan. You feel what I'm saying? So we got 6 winners going in on the raffle. The first 3 winners are going to get 3 winners are going to get, each of them are going to get a 7-day meal plan, full 7-day meal plan, free 99, and that's just for winning. But what you got to do is go to YouTube, and in the search bar, you're going to put in Forever 95. Once you put in Forever 95, you're going to see our channel. Then you're going to hit subscribe. Then you're going to drop a comment to let us know who you are. Just anything. A comment could say, shouts out to y'all, my name is whatever. It doesn't matter. Just drop a comment so we know who you are. So we're going to pick 6 people out of everybody who goes, subscribes, and drops a comment. The first 3 people are going to get a free 7-day meal plan. Free 7-day meal prep. What is meal prep? We do 7-day meal prep for Kento diets, for Atkins diets, for low-carb diets, for no-carb diets, for vegan diets, right? So at this episode is about food for the mind, food that is going to fuel your brain. So the grand prize of this episode or this raffle, of course, is going to be a meal plan in an effort to spark that good health and good living. So we're doing a raffle from now to April 15th. To enter this raffle and potentially win, you want to go to YouTube channel Forever95. So you go to youtube.com, search Forever95. You're going to subscribe to our channel, and then you're going to drop a comment so we know who you are. After you drop a comment, we're going to pick out of all of the people that subscribe 6 different winners. 3 of those winners are going to get a 7-day meal plan on us. Whether it's keto, low carb, Atkins diet, whatever diet you on, we can facilitate that. The next 3 are going to get 50% off of a 7-day meal plan. So the next 3 people get 50% off if they come through and cop a 7-day meal plan. So you want to subscribe from now till August 15th. So this way you could be in the run-in to hopefully win one of these meal plans. Now, right now, you might not be interested in the meal plan. You might be saying, yo, that meal plan sound a little whack, man. We want to win something better. But after tonight's pod, you might look at that a little differently because, again, tonight's pod is solely dedicated to food for your mind, right? So if we talk about food that's for your mind, the first stop and the first place to go is to address and identify how food affects your mind. Shouts out to everybody that's on my YouTube. If you see me looking over here, Facebook, right? If I'm doing this, that's because I'm looking at my YouTube viewership. If I'm over here with it, YouTube, if you see me looking over here, right? That means I'm rocking with my Facebook viewership, pardon self. At the end of the day, we got a lot of viewership that we got to tend to. So we're going to be everywhere. A lot of cameras want a lot of shots. But food for the mind, how does food affect your brain? This article is coming out of Kaiser Permanent. That's the source. As a neurologist, I frequently ask my patients, what can I do to prevent dementia? Since there is currently no pill to prevent or cure dementia, I advise to focus on 4 essential lifestyle factors to maintain optimum brain function. An easy way to remember them is with the letters EASZ. 1 being eat healthy food. 2, activate your body and your brain. 3, manage stress through mindfulness. 4, get plenty of restful sleep. Shout out to Lee. I see you in the live. Shout out to Mom Dukes. I see you in the live. Man, listen, we working. Hopefully, we could work hard enough to get the W. You know what I'm saying? We just trying to earn it. So let's talk more about the first factor, eating healthy. Eating healthy is essentially for memory, mood, and focus. Yo, shouts out to Kasin. I see you on the live. K-Dot, what's the deal, my guy? You already know. We waiting on you, baby. Your part is next. All right. Eating healthy is essentially for memory, mood, and focus. How many people do you know, including yourself, that when they haven't had a meal or when they're hungry, they are one of the hardest people to deal with? So we already know that this article is speaking the truth. Healthy eating is essential for memory, mood, and focus. The brain uses more than 20% of our caloric needs, that's needs for calories. Research studies have found that processes that happen inside of our bodies that lead to Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia begin years before noticeable symptoms appear. These processes include chronic inflammation of brain cells and blood vessels when our bodies break down unhealthy foods. Unfortunately, many foods commonly consumed in the American diet contain processed grains, high levels of refined sugars, salt, processed oils and fats, chemical additives, and preservatives, many of which are harmful to both our body and our brain. The effects of sugar and processed food. I see you in the live on that. Big salute, big salute. Peace, Queen. Sugar-sweetened beverages such as soda, fruit juice, sports drinks, and specialty coffee beverages often contain high fructose corn syrup, a type of sugar with a high glycemic index, right? You might want to hit your Googles, but I got you. This means that the sugar is rapidly absorbed by the gut. So if something has a high glycemic index, it means that sugar is rapidly absorbed by the gut. Now, if you want to be familiar with what you're eating, if it has a high level of high fructose corn syrup, just check the ingredients, man. When you're in a rush and you're in the store and you're picking something up, just peek the back and peek the ingredients for 1 second, because you'll be surprised the levels of high fructose corn syrup. Now, the way the ingredient listings go on the back is the ingredients that the product is made up of most, right? The ingredient that the product is made up of most is listed in that order. So the first thing listed behind the word ingredients, the product is made of that ingredient the most. So when you pick things up, you want to be very conscious if high fructose corn syrup is in one of the first ingredients. I would say the first 4 ingredients. You want to avoid those type of products because they have a high glycemic index, and that means the sugar is rapidly absorbed into the gut. This is why we see in underprivileged neighborhoods a higher level of diabetes than in wealthier neighborhoods, because in poorer neighborhoods, they can only afford the processed food, the fast food, things of that nature. So when they buy in the fast food and the processed food, by default, it's raising their glycemic index, which then leads to high blood pressure, diabetes, and as we're learning, dementia and Alzheimer's. So when the sugar is rapidly absorbed in the gut, this causes the body to produce a surge of insulin, a hormone that allows our bodies to either use or store sugar. Most of the sugars we consume are not immediately used by the body as fuels, but instead they are stored as glycogen or converted into body fat. Repeated consumption of excessive sugars can contribute to obesity, and over time, the body may lose its ability to produce enough insulin, leading to diabetes. This is literally what I just said to you. In addition, excess sugar in the bloodstream interacts with proteins to form harmful compounds known as AGEs, or advanced glycan end products, that contribute to inflammation of blood vessels and other blood tissue. Over time, chronic inflammation leads to cardiovascular disease, stroke, and degenerative brain disease. ADG are also consumed in our diet when we eat fried foods, meats cooked at a high temperature, and dairy products. So if we stop and we just examine what we just read, you know what I'm saying? On a layman's term, we see, okay, fried foods, meats cooked at a high temperature, and dairy products lead to stroke, cardiovascular disease, and degenerative brain diseases. And if we look at our community and what we may eat in our community, is when things become scary. Processed grains, which are factory milled, which include pasta, white rice, and unbleached flour, which are used to make cookies, crackers, pretzels, and other snack foods. Because a lot of times when we eat in these snacks, we're not realizing a lot of these snack foods aren't made out of food at all, right? A lot of these snack foods are made out of these man-made elements in an effort to save shelf life. So what a pretzel was made out of way back when the pretzel was invented was fresh ingredients, right? That pretzel had to be sold today. If that pretzel didn't sell today, it would no longer be good for the market tomorrow. You had to make fresh pretzels every day. But then someone came up with this brilliant idea of preservatives and additives. And now we have so many products on the market that are filled with preservatives and additives. So with ingesting these preservatives and additives in addition to meat, which many people will argue humans were not created to consume in the first place, these different things lead to cardiovascular disease, stroke, and degenerative brain diseases. Okay, so now if we go back to pasta, white rice, and unbleached flour, sometimes we may look at these certain products on the market and think that we're okay. Because what it says here is processed grains, right? So you may find a pasta on the market that's calling itself a whole wheat grain pasta, but if that pasta is factory milled, then there is no true nutritional value in those grains because those grains were factory milled, right? And that's something you got to do your homework on what factory milled means. But many of these snacks, products, cookies, crackers, pretzels that are using these factory milled processed grains are stripped of the fiber, vitamins, and other nutrients during manufacturing, leaving behind simple carbohydrates and starches. Starches are absorbed in the gut very rapidly, just like sugar, and when consumed repeatedly can lead to similar cardiac, inflammatory, and weight-related diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. Now, if you're from the community that I'm from, diabetes, hypertension, and obesity is a huge factor in our community. Again, in the beginning of this podcast, I'll let you know that in the poorer communities, processed foods are made readily available. Fried foods are made readily available, mainly because of their easy production rate. The price point of these foods is very low. So we're having a low price point. These neighborhoods where people aren't necessarily financially excelling, they're going to go for the foods at the lower price point. And unfortunately, these foods are not only unhealthy, they're killing them, but in the worst way. The long slow haul, leaving them with diseases such as, leaving our community with diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. So I think it's important, instead of dwelling on the foods we shouldn't eat, it's probably more important to dwell on what we should eat. Sometimes we may take in too much information at once in an effort to try to get things done in a not quick, but a urgent fashion. It's not so much that we want to get it done quick because we understand quick is not the best, but we understand the urgency behind something. So we want to be urgent about getting this problem fixed. But sometimes in urgency, we find haste. And when you're being hasteful about something, things are being left behind. So in haste, we may focus on the bad foods, everything that's bad. Well, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this. But when you're trying to be healthy, focusing on what you don't want leaves you blind to what you should be getting. So if you're blind to what you should be getting, you're walking around in a haze of, well, I know I don't want this, I know I can't eat that, I know I can't eat this. Shit, I don't know what I can eat. So let's talk about foods for a healthy brain and body. For a healthy brain and body, we need to limit refined sugars and processed foods in our daily diet. We need to focus on fresh and whole plant-based foods, which can help slow and prevent inflammation and cognitive decline and maximize our brain function. Whole plant foods such as vegetables, fruits, nuts, whole grains, and legumes provide complex carbohydrates. Before we talked about simple carbohydrates that simply turn to sugar and affect the gut quickly. Now we're talking about complex high carbohydrates, which are rich in protein, vitamins, minerals, and fiber, which nourish our brain and our organs. Plants also produce what is known as phytochemicals, which give fruits and vegetables their rainbow of colors and provide natural antioxidant and anti-inflammatory benefits. So what this is saying is fruits and vegetables naturally come power-packed with anti-inflammatory benefits. The same way they try, the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry tries to sell us on the idea that their medicines and pharmaceuticals can provide us with the health help that we need. The truth is, the health help that we need is simply inside of fruits and vegetables. The fiber present in vegetables, fruits, and whole grains slows the intestinal absorption of sugar, creating less of an insulin surge and lowers the risk of developing diabetes and inflammation. Natural plant fiber also helps us feel full faster. Natural plant fiber helps us feel full faster and satisfy longer, which prevents overeating. See, when you eat these crappy, simple carbohydrates, you never feel full. This is why if you're hungry, you can sit and eat 5 bags of chips and then still go have dinner. Because what you consumed was simple carbohydrates that don't fulfill anything really. But these complex carbohydrates, which are found in whole foods, satisfy your urge to eat. Or curb your appetite, I should say. Natural plant fibers also help us feel full faster and satisfied for longer, which prevents us from overeating. Another important advantage of plant fiber is that it feeds our gut. It feeds our gut microbiome, the millions of microbacteria that live in our lower intestine. A healthy, diverse microbiome helps our immune system fight infections and some cancers, and may help our brains to influence mood and cognitive ability. So let's be very clear here, right? We can, if you know, this is why we recommend setting up a life journal. And in that journal, you should write daily what you're eating, right? And not only what you're eating, but you should write your mood before you ate said food and after. Because with keeping a journal, all you're doing is keeping track. Your mind is the equivalent of a flash drive. Your mind cannot hold all the information that happens in a day. It's just simply not how your mind was trained to work. Your mind is like a flash drive. There is a limit on what your mind can remember at any given time. And what we do is we store the more important things closer to the front. So minuscule, trivial things such as the color of the car at the third stoplight of your drive many times is not stored because it's not worth the storage. But things such as what your husband told you at 5 p.m., what your kid calling, your kid's school calling your phone, these are things that you're going to remember and they're going to be stored in the front of your mind. So it's very important to be conscious of what you're eating and how what you're eating is affecting your memory and cognitive ability. Because we see here with eating less processed food, people's mood and cognitive ability and activity spiked for the better. So one of the diets that are recommended is the Mediterranean diet and how it's connected to brain health. Let's get into that. The Mediterranean diet is one of the planet's healthiest plant-based options. Research has shown that it can help reduce cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and other chronic diseases, including dementia. So, some key ingredients of the Mediterranean diet include plant-sourced oils. Plant-sourced oils. So, oil is not bad as a whole. It's where that oil is coming from. So, plant-based oils such as avocado oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, great. Fresh fruits and veggies, great. Nuts and seeds, great. Protein-rich legumes, great. Fiber-rich whole grains, nuts and seeds, great. And a modest, I'm going to say it one more time, a modest amount of seafood, including omega-3 rich fish, shrimp, and scallop, lean meats, poultry, pork, beef, and dairy products, aged cheeses, yogurt, low-fat milk. This is what consists of the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet also includes a little taste of wine, a maximum of 1 glass for women, and 2 glasses a day for men. Studies show that the modest adherence to the Mediterranean diet is associated with improvements in executive function and memory. So just a modest adherence to the diet, right, is associated with improvements in executive function and memory. and a lower rate of cognitive decline. It is also associated with independence of the improvement is noted in the cerebrovascular risk factors. So the cerebrovascular risk factors also went down indeed when they switched to the Lily said put that on the list. Shouts out to Lily for being the #1 shopper for the meal plans Forever Foods. But absolutely, Mediterranean diet is it. And achieving a healthier brain, a Mediterranean diet achieves a healthier brain and reduce your risk of developing dementia, and can be as straightforward as developing a healthier lifestyle and including healthier food choices, right? So this was a example and a clear depiction of how food interacts and affects your brain, and how simply switching your diet, right? Simply switching your diet can save your life. Now, for a lot of people, a lot of us are content with how we look. It's not about looks, we're happy with how we look, and that's cool. But what I'm offering here is making a change in your diet in an effort to save your life. Right? Nobody wants to be 65, 68, 70 and not remember their grandkids, right? And this is what the processed food is doing to us. It's putting us in a place where our minds are degenerative a lot sooner than they should be. Why is that? Because these processed foods are not feeding us, our minds, body, and spirit, on a cosmic level. These foods are processed, man-made. We've learned that they've been stripped of all their fiber and nutrients, right? So that's a lot. A processed apple pie is a lot different than, say, an apple that went through the birth process of blooming on a tree and coming to fruition through Mother Earth. That apple pie was processed. The apples came into that factory, was chopped up, fried up, and whatever else without any care or regard. So we got to be very mindful of the things we put in our bodies in an effort in understanding how it can affect our brain. So let's continue to dig deeper into foods linked to better brain power. Shouts out to everybody in the live. You already know it's your boy Swab God, man. We a couple minutes in, so if you just walking in the building, you didn't miss too much. But I want to let you know what we talking about this evening is brain foods and the function of food with the brain. How the foods we eat affect our brains. I think it was very important to stop and take a moment to address how the foods we eat affect us, because realistically, our moods play such a role in our lives, right? The mood that you're in when you dealt with your boss, your sister, your cousin, your auntie, your mother, your spouse, can kind of dictate that relationship, at least for that day, for that moment. So it's very important to be in tune with your mood and to be in tune why you're in that mood, right? Because sometimes you may be in a mood and you may not even understand why. How many times have you been angry, frustrated, whatever else, and you truly didn't have an honest, reason you could pin down right then and there as to why? Could the food you're eating play a role? So could you changing the food that you're eating help you out with having a better mood so this way your day can go smoother? Because see, the main thing, a lot of times we have these bad days, right? And we have these attitudes and we walk around with this chip. And it don't affect nobody but us. That's the craziest part about it. We walk around with this chip and we walk around with this pressure. Well, everyone else seems to be lackadaisical. Everyone else seems to be jovial. Everyone else seems to be having a good old time. But for us, it seems as though the pressure is on. It seems as though things are getting thick, right? Could this be linked to the foods we're eating? And could this be linked to how those foods are affecting our brain? It gets deep. Humans are electrical beings. That is no finding of Dave's. That is simply science. Humans are electrical beings. And with being electrical beings, you best serve yourself by eating electrical foods. Foods that are alive. I'll leave that at that. So foods linked to better brain health. Just as there's no magic pill to prevent cognitive decline, no single almighty brain food can ensure a sharp brain as you age. Nutritionists emphasize that the most important strategy to follow a healthy dietary plant pattern that includes a lot of fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains. Try to get protein from plant sources and fish, and choose healthier fats, such as olive oil or canola, rather than saturated fats. Research shows that the best brain foods are the same ones that protect your heart and blood vessels, including the following: green leafy vegetables. Leafy greens such as kale, spinach, collards, and broccoli are rich in brain-healthy nutrients like vitamin K, lutein, folate, and beta-carotene. Research suggests these plant-based foods help slow cognitive decline. Now, sometimes I know for me, switching over in the beginning wasn't the easiest thing to do. Switching over to the green leafies, right? Wasn't a big fan of kale, wasn't a big fan of spinach, and if I did eat collards, they was gonna be smothered in neck bones, vinegar, and everything else they shouldn't be. So one of my tricks to making sure I get my greens in at a high level is in the morning, I will literally take your everyday standard blender. I have a Oster blender, O-S-T-E-R, a Oster blender. It's a smoothie blender, right? It has two settings, high, off, and low. That's it. It's nothing special. What I do, I drop frozen spinach. I buy bags of frozen spinach, frozen kale. I prefer fresh, but fresh isn't always available, right? When fresh kale and spinach is available, I buy the fresh kale and spinach. But when not, I have no problem buying the frozen. I buy a fresh bag, but then I freeze it. So now the next day, I reach in a bag, I grab a handful of kale, a handful of spinach, a handful of kale, a handful of spinach. And then I fill up my Oster blender halfway with water. And I blend the spinach and kale in simply water. That's it. Why do I do that? Because leafy greens such as kale, spinach, and collards, broccoli are rich in brain healthy nutrients like vitamin K,